All right. It wasn't letting me join on the recording computer for some reason. All right. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and get started. I'm sure people start trickling in here as needed.
Sweet. What's up, guys? It is Ross here on behalf of MVHQ, and it looks like today I'm here with Cheetle Heat, who is the community manager for the Weirdos NFT. They have an upcoming drop of their expanded Weirdos collection. They're weird, they're wacky. We're going to get weird and wacky ourselves today. We love to be interactive with the audience, so if you guys have any burning questions for the Weirdos, or if you just want to be weird on stage, we'll entertain it tonight only. I mean, hey, the Weirdos are in town, so how often do you get to let the freak flag fly? Tell me about yourselves, Cheeto, and who do you got here on the Weirdos account here?
Hey, Ross. Hey, thanks very much for having all of us here today. That's cool. Great intro. And yeah, we encourage a bit of weirdness in our server too. So yeah, for one night only on your spaces, we're going to bring people up and let them express themselves a bit differently. Hey, so on the Weirdos account, we've got Crypto Jack, one of our co-founders and our product lead as well. So between the two of us, we can field any of the questions the community has, talk about our backstory, both, in terms of how we both got into Web3 and why we're here, how the project's going, background to the project and where it's going from here. So yeah, I've got tons to cover today.
Nice. And Crypto Jack, as the product guy for Weirdos, does that just mean you're out here slinging rat milk? Like, what are you doing?
It's a great question. I ask myself that quite a lot. Yeah, I'm masquerading as the Weirdos account today. So I'm kind of responsible for putting everything together, running the project, and the stuff that is a bit more product focused. So the product being the actual NFTs, the art, the concepts that we're putting together, but also we've built quite a lot of exciting things on our website as well. So kind of I coordinate the development team and kind of bring all of those strands together. I like to call myself a joiner of dots. But sometimes that just means I'm the admin guy as well. So wear many hats.
No, we feel that. I appreciate the info. And what about you, Cheeto? A little bit of background for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm relatively new to the team on the Weirdos. I joined about nearly 5 weeks ago now. Jack and I go back 21 years. So co-founders Kerno Cream and Crypto Jack are university friends of mine, and I'm the beneficiary of good timing. I quit my IRL job, and I was looking at my options for diving headfirst down the rabbit hole of Web3, and gave Jack a call about 6 weeks ago, and just tried to chew his ear off about a product idea that I had, and he kind of stopped me halfway through and said, "There's going to be an opening on our team, and it would be great to have someone who I can bounce these ideas off." And at first I'm thinking, sure, why not? I mean, I would get into the story of why I quit my IRL job perhaps a bit later on, but it just felt like such a breath of fresh air to be able to really concentrate on stuff like this and use the other side of my brain. My background is in finance, and the last 4, 5, 6 weeks have been anything but really. I've been spending time thinking about how we grow our community, how we keep things fun, engaging and entertaining, and getting paid to Google things like animal butts for quizzes in our Discord, and milking rats in a public cafe to show off the benefits of the website to friends IRL. So it's been a wild journey the last few weeks. I never quite thought I'd end up here, but here we are.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine that some of your friends are extremely concerned, saying, yeah, I left my job in finance and now I'm working animating nipples and harvesting rat milk. That's definitely going to be a fun one next Thanksgiving to tell people that you're doing that full time.
Exactly. I've got some good friends. In fact, one of them took me for a walk today just before I got to my desk, and they were checking in on me. Are you okay? I've been hearing you're into NFTs. It was almost like they were trying to save me from the cult. It sounded like an intervention, but I don't know if you've been to the Weirdos.com, but it makes it very clear that it's not a cult. So we're okay. We're fine. We're in a healthy society, just a little bit quirky.
Yeah. Oh, I've been to the website. I don't know if I believe that it's not a cult. Sort of seems like there's some cultish branding there, maybe hidden on the website. For everyone listening, you should definitely check out the website. And just be careful if they ask you to drink any punches that may or may not have, some
Yeah.
poison in them. But yeah, we're really excited to have you both here, and I love the art for the project. It looks pretty cool. Anything else you want to tell us as a launch for your project, or the upcoming launch for the extended Weirdos collection? I have a bunch of questions to ask you guys, and we definitely want to get the audience up here, but I want to make sure to give you some chance to chill uninterrupted.
Oh, yeah, just waiting to see who's going to jump in and chill. So I guess like just setting some context. So as you mentioned, we've got an up and coming generative collection, which is being called the cloning event. But the Weirdos have existed for some time. It was originally this hand drawn, nostalgic one of one collection produced by Ghost Breath, the artist, a South African artist, award winning guy. Has worked on products like Adult Swim. You can see some of that kind of really come through in his art, and kind of you can see those influences there. That original collection was or is 412 individual hand-drawn characters, each with their story. So if you take a look on the website, under Meet the Weirdos, you can see all of those characters, and you can click on their descriptions. We challenge you to do that without laughing or losing 5 or 10 minutes just lost in these kind of funny little quirky 2 or 3 line descriptions. But at its heart, these characters formed a story, this narrative, which I kind of, it's unfair to say I discovered Ghost Breath, but he was already doing his thing in Web3, producing this first series when I came across him, but kind of through a series of conversations and just kind of providing some like friendly advice and support to him as an early collector of his series 1, it became super apparent that there was this crazy, wonderful story behind all of these characters, and it had been brewing in his head for decades. It was influenced by pop culture. It was just fantastic. It was almost impossible, it seemed, to do it justice in the format that he was doing, just through these kind of one-on-ones. So we pitched him kind of an approach, a concept for bringing these characters out into the world, to start to tell a story. And really, the cloning event in the next couple of weeks is just the start of that story, and kind of our efforts to share that deep narrative with a much wider audience over, well, hopefully the coming years. So that's kind of the essence of the collection. The story, as you've alluded to, if we start to get into it, is it can get quite crazy, or seemingly crazy, quite quickly. So we won't go too much into rat milk and cream lists and the weirdos versus their enemy, the state, right now. But suffice to say, there's kind of a lot of depth to this story, and we think there's something for everybody. The art's amazing. It really pops. It feels different. Take a look at it again. Like I said, if you look at each of the pieces, it's hard to see it straight away, but there's only 5 colors used across the whole of the palette, not including black and white. It's got this really punchy, vibey, instantly recognizable feel. Like I said, the narrative's amazing. Cheadle Heat has helped really build this, fantastic community spirit. This, we talk about when I brought Cheadle on, when I asked Cheadle to come in and really help us take the community to the next level, my instructions or request to him was really, really simple. I wanted us to build the most fun place in Web3, and we have, it was a community that was already centered around a lot of fun. We played games. It was silly. The stories of the characters are silly, so we kind of really played on that. But he's really taken it to the next level. Like you said, we're playing poker earlier this evening. We're getting kind of 800 people a day playing poker. There's silly games like Guess the Animal, but the characters really lend themselves to kind of games of Guess Who or similar, or Guess the Zoomed In Weirdo. So and obviously we've got our rat milking game on the website. So it's just everything we're trying to do there is kind of intentionally light relief to kind of the gravity of normal everyday life. So and I think we're really trying to kind of those efforts to achieve that have been very successful so far. I feel that's kind of pitchy enough to start with, so I'll probably should shut up now and let you guys
End of shill.
End of shill. Yeah, it's amazing. Come and play with us.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I'm definitely going to stop you there, man. You're getting a little weird. I'm just kidding. Definitely appreciate the update. That's awesome. And yeah, we love communities that have like fun games that are really interactive. And that was like a lot about the background of the collection. And I know you said that we're going to not get super into depth quite yet, but I want to maybe just clarify for people who are going through your website, right? Because I was going through it. I know you have the clone launch coming. So all of these mechanisms are already underway. I know that there's an OG Weirdos collection, and then a Weirdos Season 2 and Series 3, and then a Weirdos Against the State. All of those seem like there's a few different collections on OpenSea, and it seems like you guys already have a lot underway. And usually we don't see, already super established projects making launches. I mean, we certainly do. But can you tell people just specifically with the clone launch coming up, is the only way to be part of that through the cream list? What kind of opportunities would you have if you're just looking to join the Weirdos verse? And maybe with these clones, what can we expect to see? I'm sure we'll see some of Ghostface's recognizable animation there. But, is there going to be the same feel as the rest of the Weirdos? Is there going to be something about these clones that is really separating them from the original Weirdo collection?
Yeah. I guess something really important to say to start with. So series 1 to 3, these 412 characters, if you take a look at them, they are hand drawn, right? So there's males, females, they're all different sizes. There's cats, there's cat people, there's big rats, there's robots, there's pterodactyl people, there's kind of recognizable celebrities and kind of commentary on the real world. So if you look carefully, you'll find Tom Cruise or a reference to Tom Cruise, Mark Zuckerberg, our Prime Minister in the UK, Boris Johnson, features as a dog called Dogson. So it's this kind of like very rich, hand drawn, real. It's real art, right? So how do you transition that from kind of something that's very complex into a generative collection? And the answer is it's very difficult. To kind of get that feel of this one-of-one hand-drawn art to transition through to these clones, these weirdo and state clones, is incredibly challenging. There's, as you can imagine, different body shapes, facing different directions, different sexes, some that don't identify as a particular gender. These things are going to feature in the generative, and that is why we are so excited about the generative. It's been a labor of love for the artist and Mark, the kind of the lead dev on the generative and the smart contract side of things. But we started off saying this cloning event is going to produce a generative collection that is going to feel like 14 different collections in one. And the reason that we say 14 is because actually there's going to be 7 factions on each of the sides of the state and the Weirdos. So that's going to feel in itself like nothing, hopefully nothing people have seen, before in this space to this kind of level of complexity. But now that we've started to see the collection and, we've been running tests and you start to take a look, you realize there's male and female on both sides. There's 5 different body sizes and shapes on male and female. There's 5 different heads. Which means that kind of the arms need to represent the kind of same girth as the body. So when you see these characters emerge from the testing, and obviously the community will see this in when we reveal, it doesn't look even like 14 different collections within a single collection. It looks like we've switched on a cloning machine. We've pressed the button and it's just started creating people that have flown out into this village, this Weirdiverse, this farm, and they all look, totally individual. Yes, there'll be some traits which are rarer than others. Yes, you'll be able to see that this is a pterodactyl person, not a cyclops. But this is creating a story. The cloning machine is going to build 9,272 characters which are going to exist in this world and become kind of key players in the story if their owners want to play on that fun kind of creative side. So yes, to answer your question, yes, you'll see aspects of the original Genesis collection in the clones. It will be very obvious that the color palettes will be familiar. Some of the key traits from the Genesis will be familiar in the cloning collection. So whilst it will feel very familiar and like they'll look like Weirdos, our attempt here is to kind of redefine the standards and set new expectations for collectors in terms of what they should expect from generative art, generative PFP projects. So we're very excited.
Yeah, that's really awesome and very exciting. I also do want to point out to the audience that 17 minutes into this was exactly how long it took Jack to mention girth, and there was no prior discussion of that. That was all offered up independently of us. So that just shows you what we have in store for these creators in this mint. Cheeto, were you about to hop in and add on to what Jack was saying?
Yeah, I was going to pick up on one of your questions in the middle of your point as well, Ross, because you were asking us about how you can be part of the cloning event, and you referenced the cream list. And so I was just going to clarify that point just while we're getting into the details. So the cream list is our way of describing the allow list or pre-sale. So there's going to be a couple of ways of achieving that. In fact, we've made quite interesting methods of engaging in the cream list in the community. But if you start with the Genesis collection, all the Genesis holders will have one free cloning event token in the generative mint. So of the 9272, you've got 412 who can claim one free mint as a starting point for their generative. And then you've got the rest, which is all going to be hopefully achieved by our cream list. Now, the way that we've gone about that, I think, is very not very humble of us to say so, but we've gone about it in a way which we think is somewhat fair, fun, and engaging. And the way that we settled on this was by thinking about using what Jack has described in previous discussions as a fun token. So this is where rat milk starts getting introduced into the weirdo economy. So we have this off-chain Discord predominant currency, and it is called rat milk, and it's all part of the backstory and the lore of Ghost Breath's battle and struggle of the weirdos as they form this sub-community, this sort of counterculture away from the Big Brother state 200 years in the future. And rat milk is the secret ingredient which powers the cloning machines, which will allow them to build their army to strike back against the state. So rat milk becomes this really central conversation point. We dropped it in very surreptitiously early on in the very sort of infancy of the Discord, when we were still in our hundreds rather than the thousands and thousands that we have now. And slowly but surely we started bringing this sort of, like say, fun token into the conversations that we were having, the games that we were playing, and I suppose the reward for being an engaged community member. And what we started to see is that as people started to acquire the Genesis collection, because we've got this whole story that sits around them, we've got people almost leaning into the characters of the tokens that they've adopted. Now, the bios help with that as well, because there's a couple of, interesting quirks or foibles or idiosyncrasies or whatever you'd call each of the weirdos. And people are really sort of assuming that character when they are representing themselves in the Discord in some cases. And we've been rewarding that kind of role play or playful experimentation with rat milk. And then we built it from there, and we thought, well, how are we going to scale this? Because it made sense for the first 400 people who had a series 1, 2, or 3 Genesis to really riff on the story and get deeper and build almost like community lore around Ghost Breath's narrative. But how do we scale that when we get to a generative collection? Is that going to work? Are people going to understand that? There's a lot of depth there. So the way that we introduced that was by bringing games into the community and using Rat Milk as the prize and the reward for it. And then Rat Milk is converted into purchasable cream list spots in a clever bot command within the server for as a conversion from the farm shop. So Rat Milk is the purchasable currency for cream list spots. So basically, what we're doing is we're just giving people lots and lots of opportunities to get involved in the collection, play these quizzes, play these games, understand what it's all about. Hopefully, as a byproduct, they end up on the cream list rather than this sort of central grind, which I think you see quite a lot of communities being consumed by. And what we were trying to avoid as best as we could was this lack of authenticity in the conversations that take place across the server. We had a number of concerns about that sort of, I suppose, like that grind and flip community where they're performing for the benefit of obtaining a pre-list spot just so that they can acquire and move on. We were hoping to foster something which made a real connection with the art as the centerpiece for everything, and bringing everyone back to the storyline felt like the way to do that in an authentic way.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've definitely been noticing that for a lot of projects, lore has been pretty prominent. You know, it's really building like a story arc to the collection and not just having it be these standalone pieces, but this sort of, I hate to say IP to like turn it into business terms, what's really just a engaged community. But yeah, I mean IP in the sense that it's very different from, you know, those communities around it. So that's awesome. And I really do support being weird. Poop deals with me all the time in Twitter spaces, and he has no idea what kind of games I'm going to throw at him. So I like that a lot. Do you have any plans for Rat Milk after the mint? Like, I know that's such a key component for right now and playing those games when the mint goes public and all of the clones have been minted out and everything. I mean, tell us about it, Sheila. Like, I know you're doing this full time now. What can we expect in the future from the Weirdos?
Yeah, it's a great question. We are building a full Weirdoverse, and I think we've been really guarded about the extent to which we articulate every step on that roadmap in terms of utility and focus on the next thing after the next thing. And so one of the approaches that I think we feel, both Jack and I feel quite strongly about, is how we keep people centered on the one thing that we think is going to provide the most value and entertainment in the short, medium and long term, which is, let's start with the PFP collection, keep the focus as much as possible on the thing that we think is going to be hopefully a bit of a genre redefinition of how we bring PFP projects to life. So in terms of the post-mint utility of Rat Milk as an example of that, we've said to our community that there will absolutely be a use and a purpose of Rat Milk beyond the mint. So it will remain a central core narrative and theme, and will have utility in the way that we open up the Weirdoverse and unlock different experiences around this collection. So we are maintaining a commitment to earning Rat Milk and having Rat Milk carry a utility, and that reward is a reason for continuing to participate and just vibe with people who are, you know, like-minded around the collection. So it's about coming back to the PFP collection for now. I think Jack will probably give you a bit of insight in terms of how he came to that decision as well, from being a founder of an alpha server, and how both of us have, as collectors as well, have seen the sort of perils of pricing in the speculative aspects of roadmaps and roadmap 2.0s, and how that can often turn a collection into a very sharp boom and bust from a what would otherwise have some really solid fundamentals, particularly when we're looking at trying to build something that visually creates a desire and a FOMO to own it as a profile picture and as a social signifier first and foremost. So our focus has really been to make sure that people understand that what we're trying to do here is create first and foremost a project which people will want to have as their profile picture. Now, we can get onto the challenges of trying to get mass adoption of a adult themed profile picture into Web3, because that's certainly got its challenges and issues when we start looking at elements of the Genesis collection as a signpost of what's coming next. You've got some nudity, you've got some disheveled characters and who've seen better days, you've got weapons, you've got purple stains which look, suspiciously like blood, and there's a whole series of things that you might think, will that carry well across every representation of yourself in the metaverse or Web3 or any context that you would want to be represented by an avatar in? And I think my sort of response to that is, there's a number of people who feel like the universal PFPs, like trying to think of examples without sounding like I'm picking on them. Like Doodles is a great example. So I love Doodles, but as a coming up to 40-year-old man, does the pastel palette and youthful look of a doodle represent me in my real life, and is that a fair reflection of the way that I want to put myself into Web3? Possibly not, but I love the art, I love the design of them, but I could see myself resonating with a number of 90s pop culture references in this collection, because that's my era, that's my generation to some extent, and I can see plenty of connections that would almost be sort of adjacent to some of the things I can identify with in both the Weirdos and the state characters here. So that's our hope, really, that people see something of themselves in some of these Weirdo clones as we move forwards. And even where there's quirks, it's really sort of owning those quirks and being proud of them, and not being ashamed to, put your hand up in Web3 and say, I am weird, and this is the perfect representation of what that looks like.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. And, not to do your marketing team's job for them, but for the audience, this would also be an amazing alt burner Twitter profile. I mean, you could make a second account and just have a troll NFT Twitter. Heck, spread the FUD. Why not?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the key thing there, from your kind of primary question around rat milk is, we've been on a few of these AMAs now, and what the kind of rat milk question often decodes to is when ERC20 token, and look, we've created this off-chain token and this economy based around a proof of fun. As partly as an experiment. We know these economies are complex, even simple economies based on a crazy thing like rat milk. We've struggled with creamless inflation, too much liquidity in the rat milk economy. So we would love to do something exciting and groundbreaking with rat milk in the future. We're just taking things step by step right now, and the experiments and learning that we're doing now are done in a very safe environment. Nobody's, none of our collectors stand any chance of, buying rat milk at a very high price only for it to crash a few weeks later. So we're taking it very seriously. The approach of the whole team across everything has always been to, very deliberate and to make sure that we're thinking about things properly before we're making any decisions. But we would love to do something with rat milk in the future that is is innovative and groundbreaking and hasn't been done before.
Awesome. I definitely do appreciate that. Cheetle, I want to go back for a second to something you said earlier, because I just can't get over how funny the idea is that you go onto Web3 and you're looking at Doodles, which is just like one of the most renowned projects in the space. And I'm totally with you. Like, you're thinking like, yeah, I'm 40 years old. This doesn't resonate with me. What? They're going to boil me down to a doodle? Oh, better buy a cartoon with its dick out. That's the real me. I love it.
I mean, if you're gonna have an alt and an avatar that isn't your IRL face, then why not lean into the most extreme example of what resonates. There's more to the Weirdos than just bare penises. Is that now? This is the right time to open that conversation.
This is the right time. This is a safe space. We're going to talk about some adult themes. That's okay. I feel so bad that we're doing this in front of Emmy. She's listening. She's the founder of Shinsei Galverse. We interviewed her like a week ago, and she is so sweet and so fun to talk to. Hi, Emmy. But yeah, she hopped in right as I was talking about penises, so that was fun.
In terms of nudity, it's an equal opportunities collection. There's an equal number of male to female nudity, so there's something for everyone in that respect. And there's naked robots, there's naked animals. It's an expression of liberalism that the weirdos are comfortable expressing in the retreat of the farm beyond the woods, far from the clutches of the thought controlling state. And that would be the way Ghost Breath would speak to, I think, if he was on the spaces with us. But some of them have clothes too. And one of the things I think that I really gravitated to when I first saw the collection was just the number of childhood references for me. So again, as I'm of a certain age, there's and as is Ghost Breath as well, I think was sort of similar in age, are references for cartoons and popular references are very similar. You've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in here. You've got the Ultimate Warrior in WWF, which is he was an icon of my childhood. Then you've got the Spice Girls, who came along in the 90s, a little bit later on in the 90s. And so everywhere you look, in fact, there's Miss Trunchbull from Matilda as I'm scrolling through. You can see things from my childhood that take you back, and that's the nostalgia that he was really trying to evoke in people as they think, hey, yeah, I could see this working as a PFP. Shredfather, a mix between Shredder and Darth Vader as well. So he's like a jacked Darth Vader, I suppose, would be a way of bringing that to description on a Spaces if you don't have the website in front of you. So everywhere you look, there's a reference back to something that might trigger a happy thought back from childhood or a little bit later on.
That's awesome. We're really excited for it. And I mean, honestly, like just going through the series 2 and series 3 are so fun. I was talking to Poop about this project a little bit beforehand, and I was just saying how I think some projects, the art really carries so much of their story and what brings the value to them, right? Like you see a lot of projects that come out with these lofty goals, I would say, to sort of hint at that, it's like over promising, hey, we're going to build everything. We're going to have a game. We're going to have a metaverse and our own marketplace and all these things to bring value. But sometimes just having like characters you resonate with and having good art that's different is like, that's what can be so valuable in the space, honestly.
Yeah, we've had conversations about roadmap bingo as a project team, and it's very easy, isn't it? And everyone's got an example of a project they've seen that tries to tick every buzzword in their first roadmap, and it's exactly as you just called it. It's a merch range, it's an ERC20, it's a subsequent airdrop, it's promise of roadmap 2.0 when this is all over, and so on and so on and so on. And how much of it actually adds value if the core proposition of the original project isn't there? How much of it adds value if the project team doesn't have a track record of delivering and executing this stuff at a high level? So we've been really inspired by a number of projects over the time that we've been in Web3, either as collectors or as project team members. And the ones that do more and say less tend to be the ones that end up having the teams that deliver and back up their credentials with actions. And one of the great examples that everyone remembers in this space is, suddenly you're going about your business IRL, and then Yuga Labs drop fuck it Mutant Saturday, and the world just went crazy. And in the space of 5 minutes, your whole weekend has just been flipped on its head, because that something incredible's about to come. And okay, they built their track record by that point. They dropped a dog into the ecosystem unannounced, and they'd already started to build towards this elite tier credibility, which anyone in this space ought to be striving towards, even if they fall short. Azuki's another really good example where, they've led with the art. They've been really conscious that they don't want to detract from the collection before they build. They've also done some smart things, themselves in terms of the smart contract they built. I think they've certainly turned heads with the way that they delivered a fair launch from a technical perspective as well. So, when we look at the way that we have built to this moment in time, Jack would articulate this far better than I would, but we've deployed our own smart contract for a series of hand-drawn one-of-ones at, a collection size of 133, which is practically unheard of in this space, and delivered with, nearly no gas. And we've got, relatively exciting plans for how that will work in the generative as well. We are certainly the first generative project to announce the use of ApeCoin as a currency payment option for the generative as well, which sadly meant that we were beaten to the announcement of being the first of any project to use ApeCoin, because Time Magazine beat us by about 2 hours on Twitter. And theirs is going to be used for future subscription payments, seemingly. But from a generative perspective, we're introducing ApeCoin as just another way of trying to, break some new ground and try and be a little bit different in how we execute and build that trust and track record. In fact, the game that we put on the website unannounced was another step in that direction. We've got this. I suppose it's a story adding game called the Rat Milking Game, which is just a bit of fun. Basically, it's a rat hooked up to some teacups, and you smash a button I was going to say as many times as you can, but a fairly fast rate, over a minute and a half, to extract rat milk for your collection, which then converts into creamless spots. So we're trying to just build on that whole quirky storyline through a little bit of an interactive fun in lots of different ways. And that was hoping to be our signal to the world that we're just quietly going about our business and adding value in lots of different ways. And when it comes to the roadmap, we're going to have a very similar philosophy of, here you go, here it is. And, look at the collection, look at the kind of things that we've got in our background. It's not going to be an enormous leap or assumption to imagine where this is going, and the types of ways that we would expand on the IP, to your phrase earlier.
That's awesome. That's seriously sick. And I love the idea of just like random games popping up. I've sort of implemented that in my real life. There's definitely games that you can play with like any Uber driver, to be honest. I do one where I ask them every time if they have aux, and then I'll just play awkward voice memos. So like, I love to like rap and freestyle. So I have so many just like like chopped up voice memos of me rapping, and I'll just play them full volume in the Uber. The Uber driver is so confused. And another really great one for just games for the audience here is you just tell your Uber driver when you get off, like, invite them to come with you. You'll go to like a water park and be like, you want to come with us? They'll be like, oh, no. Like, oh, come on. Like, it'll be super fun. Like, you sure? And they love it. Like, honestly, Uber drivers are like, oh, man, like, I can't. Like, I got to work for 2 hours. Like, come on, man. Like, it'll be so fun. Like, you don't want to come with us?
This feels like a bio of one of our weirdos. This is exactly the sort of one paragraph that completely encapsulates one of our core characters, Ross. I'm sure one of them is inspired by you. It's got to be. This is uncanny.
Oh, I love it. Let's get weird, guys. You guys want to get weird? Because honestly, I've heard so many AMAs on Twitter, so many spaces where they're just like the, normal schedule. We're going to have questions and all. Let's get weird. You guys for it?
Yeah, go for it. How weird are we talking?
Cheadle, if you had to hang out with 3 people in this audience, completely random, and do not pick people who would you pick?
Oh, I'm going to do it purely on names and PFPs, of course. So let's go with... I need to learn about DeFi. So DeFi Mark, it's a bit dry, but you'd be super, super useful in this party of 3. I mean, we might have to go to a club afterwards and leave you at home, but let's go with... is it Lord Marlborough? you look like a lot of fun. In fact, you'd be leading the charge at the club wearing that sweater of yours. I mean, I don't know what that is, but it's fire. And then to round things out, what about your Uber driver, Ross? Or
Oh yeah, you can invite him for sure.
yeah, he sounds like a whole bunch of fun. Bo nice. Just to get us in the club, because we're just a bunch of weird freak men at this point, and you're going to help us get in the first place.
I love that. All right, we're going to get weirder. Steve is waving. I have no idea who he is, but we're just going to invite him to speak. At this point, we can give the audience mics. And audience, if you want to come up here and ask the weirdos questions, I'm just going to invite random people to speak, honestly, at this point. We're going to get weird. Usually I ask who wants to speak, and people will tell me, but I really want this to be the weirdest spaces that any of us have had. Like, that's my goal for tonight, for us. Well, I sent out some invites, but would love to hear more from you, Jack. What's going on, man? How weird are you feeling tonight?
I'm pretty. I mean, I was having a nap 20 minutes before the spaces started. It's pretty. It's hardcore delivering a project. You know, I think I've been up about 20 hours today and working about 19 of those. But I'm full on weirdo all the time. So yeah, I'm pretty weird.
All right, I love it. And we got Steve here. I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I do want to just quickly ask, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you guys since starting this project?
I mean, our kind of go-to story here is early on, probably about 2 months ago now. People were competing pretty hard to get even, 5 milliliters of rat milk, and we had one guy over in the US who insisted that he was going to film himself drinking I hope it wasn't rat milk, because he would have had to milk a lot of rats. It was about half a liter of rat milk, and pouring it all over his face while cycling around his car park outside of his house on a unicycle. So yeah, it kind of we started to see some pretty weird fan art. Some of it a bit too adult for my liking. But the community had been amazing at producing kind of little skits, videos. Rats are involved in some of those. None of them hurt, of course, but yeah, they're definitely a very weird vibe there.
I've got to say, just to give you my answer, turning myself into a pseudo rehabilitation therapist for rat milk. So we've got this kind of this bit in the community where we're conscious that we've created this proof of fund currency within the server, this off-chain rat milk thing. And as a result, people are asking for it, because it's obviously the way you get on your cream list, the allow list. And as a result, we're super, super conscious that we don't derail the fun in the space and the entertainment, and just that, like, leaning into the weirdness that we've been talking about by just begging for rat milk at every opportunity. If you see a mod jump into the chat, we don't want 10 people just with their panhandles out and groveling for milk, because it's a bit one-dimensional. It's not fun. So we created Rat Milk Anonymous, which is a channel which we can banish milk addicts to if they are over crowing for milk. And we put them in there. We don't kick people out of the server for, spamming behaviors. What we do is we put them in there for rehabilitation, and we have a conversation with them, tell them why they're there. And then their way of coming back out of the rehab clinic is to be centered back in by the art. And they've got to scroll through the collection, check out all of the different pieces in the Genesis. And then we play a game with them where they've basically got to predict the next one that's going to come up when we randomize pictures into the clinic. And it's a bit like shock therapy, where we just saturate them with art over and over and over and over again. There's no milk in there, so they don't come. It's got to be a clean place where you can get healthy again. When we're satisfied that they've learned that lesson, we release them back into society, and then they act as advocates for the collection, as opposed to the process of the accumulation of milk, because it's a terrible addiction and it can really grip people.
Chill, I love that, man. I'm cracking up here. That's weird as shit, and that's very creative. I commend you and applaud you. That's amazing. Speaking of people I applaud, we got Steve here. Let me just say this, Steve. I invited a ton of people in the audience to speak here, not to make you feel less special, because you are very special. But yeah, man, tell us about your weirdness. Be weird. Do whatever you want, honestly. Go for it.
Hey everybody, appreciate you having me on. I just wanted to ask the creators. I'm a big fan of My Strange Addiction. It's a TV show where people like eat toilet paper and like chalk. I was just wondering if you guys had any weird habits that you wouldn't mind sharing with everybody.
That's a great question. I am on the spot here. Let me think.
I enjoy pickle juice, if that makes you feel any better. Originally started with hangovers and kind of disliked it.
Yeah, I did. I think a lot of my habits like that were developed at university or college, and I think I turned some heads. Probably Jack might not remember this himself, but I would eat things like canned macaroni cheese or mac and cheese from the can cold, not warmed up. Just just a simple meal. No need to middleman it with a heater or an oven or a pan. Just get on with it, and stuff like that where it's a little bit feral. But I think that's just how college kids operate, isn't it? Looking back at that with hindsight, that's just standard fare for most 18-year-olds going away from home for the first time.
No, yeah, my roommate in college actually did that with soup. He'd enjoy
Yeah,
nice Campbell's chicken noodle about every day.
Very
nice
European.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out in the Weirdiverse, in our weird story, there's kind of these two sides. There's the kind of creative, curious, nonconformist weirdos, and as Cheadle mentioned, there's the state authority, which are kind of the representations of like the bastions of Web 2, big data, kind of over control. And I guess I've declared actually for the state rather than the weirdos. So I think I'm repressing a lot of my weirdness. It's very much in my head, and I'm trying to keep it there still. So I couldn't think of a good answer to your question also. But yeah, there's definitely something for everybody in the Weirdiverse. Plenty of space to be weird as long as it's not harming anybody else.
No, awesome. I love it. Keep it in your head if you don't want to share. Perfectly fine.
Jack, that was the wrong react. I just hit a like button. You're like, yeah, as long as it's not hurting anyone. And I start laughing. I meant to laugh.
Well, it's funny actually. We had a bit of kickback early on at kind of when you're milking the rats on the website there. We had to pick an appropriate sound for them, and there's this kind of eerie squeak eking that they've got, and some people really didn't like it. We thought about changing it to a chuckle, but we have to make it super clear that kind of rats enjoy being milked. It's a wonderful experience for them. They're treated very well. So just wanted to make it super clear that no one, especially rats, are harmed in the Weirdiverse.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah, please. We'd love to hear.
I mean, if we were doing a Twitch now, I'd be sharing screen, and you could see the rat in all its glory, squealing with delight. But as we can't do that, what I can do is hold it up to the laptop. Here we go. I'm just going to start now. You be the judge of this.
Sounds like joy to me.
Wow.
That sounds like excitement. That sounds like enthusiasm and joy. Yeah, happiness, delight that they can serve their state masters and power the cloning machines. So I think you get the general idea now. I'm not going to keep going.
I definitely appreciate it, though. Honestly, we love having audio in the stream, and yeah, this is like progressively getting weirder. I would love more people up on the stage. Audience, if you are listening on your phone, if you have your phone in your hand right now, look at that bottom left corner where it says request mic. And think about that. You can talk to two lovely chaps, some lads. I'm sorry, I'm just dipping into the UK lingo here because I'm nervous and happy to be here at the same time, feeling weird. And yeah, just request to be up on stage, guys. And again, I hope that's not rude of me with the UK stuff. I love the slang and have been to the UK a couple of times and love being out there.
Yeah, we'll do the boys, the lads, the chaps. What else we got? Yeah, we use the boys and the lads quite a lot over here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
Humble.
Humble.
Hey.
There's a plant in the audience.
I figured I'd pop up and say hello to everyone. I'm part of the Weirdos. I'm a mod in the Weirdos, and just for those of you who don't know us, come in, say hello. If you say right now, if you go into our chat, I might give you a couple of code words to say, and if you go into that chat, I'm going to award you some milk right now. So right now, if you're not in our chat yet, you're not in the lodge yet, pop in, come say hello, and then in a couple of minutes, I'm going to pop back on and I'll tell you some things to say. The first few people who say it will be awarded.
wow.
Hey, Humble, before you go, as a mod, what's like the funniest thing that you had to remove from the server, if you're willing to share that?
The funniest thing to remove from the server, we let a lot go. So to require,
there's not a lot that gets pulled, right?
I mean, like we're really setting if you are saying something that needs to be removed, it's pretty extreme. So I think the question is more, what do we allow? And we allow people to just have a good time, let loose a little bit. You know, we have a good time.
I think we've got a bit of a philosophy on this, right? So I coined this phrase when I first came to the project team, called weirdfulness. So we try and encourage behavior that focuses on being weird, fun, kind, and helpful. Ideally all four, but if you can't, then one of the four is going to work for us. And if you sort of run with that as your philosophy when you're in the community, it's not going to go wrong. And you know, as it is, when you describe a project like the Weirdos, everyone's going to hang on that word weird and then lead with it. And so we've seen plenty of people experimenting with how to take that and where the line is. And of course, everyone's line's a bit different as well, isn't it? So we're really conscious of that because we've created it and encouraged it. We want people to be weird and be playful and find that line. But they've got to find it with the community too. So if something happens and a lot of people in the community take umbrage with that and have an issue, that's when we step in and have a word. We tend to not kick in those scenarios because we've encouraged it. You know, we've tried to, in the process of creating fun, we've tried to give people a platform to have a go at doing something that they probably don't get the chance to do in their 9-to-5 real life. And if that's the case, we can't then turn around and say, hey, you didn't get the arbitrary line of grey that is a little blurry over here that we didn't do a very good job of explaining to you in, you know, the normal sort of modern community standards, which of course exist as well. You know, we don't go as far as anything which you know, normal society would flat out reject. So, you know, there is, you know, normal boundaries within that too, but where people are playing with the line, we tend to be very generous with our conversations around that because they're trying. Most people are coming from a kind place, and it's really healthy to remember that. And if anything, I think that's one of the things I'll be proudest of when I look back on this project. It's how we've really encouraged people to sort of open up and try different things in their personality that probably get buried in their day-to-days.
Dude, that's awesome, Cheadle, honestly. And you're also like, you speak so eloquently. I really have to commend you on that. I love that these are all off the fly. Like, we don't talk to the co-host before at all. So I mean, I can tell how passionate you are about it. So well said. And I also want to say, Jack used the word bastion earlier. Just a normal conversation. I would never know how to do that. So props. Humble, feel free to chime in here. I see you raising your hand, unless you're waiting.
Yeah. So I was just thinking a little bit more about the question about some of the things where we had to kind of like draw a line. And I think they're absolutely right. Like we can have a conversation. If it's something that's, you know, clearly against the rules, where you join in and you agree that you're not going to say things that are A, B, and C, because we as a society all agree we're not going to accept anything that's, you know, racist or sexist or so on and so forth. But I think I'm just thinking from the other side. I was at the park one day and I'm at the park watching my kid and my kid's playing. And I'm like, oh, I want to do the rat milk game right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on my phone at a park and I'm about to milk a cartoon rat. Maybe I should hold off for a bit. So I think a lot of it is just kind of like it's context, right? It's how it's used, it's how it's said, it's how it's meant. And I feel like we try to have a good time, and we try to have fun. And yeah, sometimes we do push it a little bit where we do get a little weird. But for any of you guys listening right now, if you want to pop into chat and maybe type the word banana, you might be awarded. And later on, we will be playing poker. So join us for poker later. We get usually. How many did you get, Cheadle, this morning?
It was about 300, but you tend to get double what I get because you're the popular, acceptable face of the mod team. So I think we'll get up to about 800-900 in total.
Okay, so we'll be prepared for that. So we'll be prepared for you guys to join us for poker. But yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys join us and get weird with us.
Hey, thanks, Humble. You got a time for that poker game?
For me, it's at 10:30 p.m. But I'm PST.
Okay, that's 10:30. Wait, was that be 7:30 for us? EST?
No,
for you. That'd be
1:30.
1:30. Yeah. Okay, got you. Cool.
Well, Legions don't sleep, so maybe you'll join anyway.
Oh, I don't sleep. I will definitely be there for poker. We got Aslo here as well, by the way, who's part of MVHQ. Join the weirdness. And Shield, feel free to chime in as well. I see you're off mute. Not trying to stop anyone's time here. Just want to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk. What up, Aslo here?
I'm just trying to feel out the line here a little bit, people. If I were to go into chat, for instance, and say 18 female ready to mingle, and not 18 female and ready to mingle, but if I were to say that, or equally 69 male and lactose tolerant, is that inside the lines for this chat?
Yeah, that feels like we're in the lines. I think what we've found is that people are sort of pushing in different directions. Whether it's something like that. What I think I've had a conversation with someone actually. I'm not going to say who it is, of course, but they were playing around with a theme of sexuality, which was playful at first, but then became a spam over and over and over again, and people got offended. So I put him in timeout, and we had a conversation. But I think it's really about just reading the room with these conversations. If people tell you no, it means no. And that was really the sort of ethos of this whole space. It's just, we want to be inclusive and as inclusive as possible while still retaining a bit of an edge and a bit of fun, because it is an adult themed NFT project. So there's adults in the room, and we're encouraging, their exploration of this storyline in a way which, isn't all safe for work. It's not all, like I say, rainbows and pastel colors. It gets dark, it gets moody, it gets interesting. And you have to be able to talk to that. Yep. But you have to do it in a way which people can enjoy it in hearing it too. So it's just it's difficult to give someone emotional intelligence, but that's what the mod team's there for. It's to recognize, hey, the people on the other side of this conversation are not having fun now, and it's time to stop. And it's really just using that judgment, which I think is really hard to find. But I think we've been very lucky in having people like Humble in our community from the very beginning who just get that, instinctively.
Yep, that makes sense. I appreciate you guys creating this space that has that openness, but it's also a little bit fun as well, and allows us to be weird. So it's great. Thank you for what you're creating.
I feel also it depends on who says it. If it's the first time you're popping into the server and it's the first thing you say, then I'm probably going to be tempted to kind of like watch you and ban you. Sometimes we play a game, and in the game you're supposed to come up with a funny answer, right? So if it's in the context of a game and I'm looking for the funniest answer, or the community's voting on funniest answer, then obviously more is acceptable than you pop into the server and you just like try to get a reaction.
Yes. Then in that case, please don't ban me.
You're good.
Humble, quick question for you. When Kendrick Lamar released his 2016 album, maybe 2018 album, Damn, and dropped the song Humble, were you like pumped? Were you like, yeah, I'm staying humble? No shit.
Yes. For
Love
sure.
it.
Yes.
Awesome. No, I feel like you get that all the time, but I think the audience was curious.
For sure. 100.
Thank you. We also have GroovyBones.eth here. Groovy, you trying to get weird, or are you going to ask a question like a freaking dork? I'm just kidding, dude.
Yo, what's going on, guys? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. So question. I just got awarded some milk thanks to Humble. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So what exactly? I'm very new to all of this weirdo. I have a couple friends. I'm from the Doodle Dogs. I don't know if you guys have heard of that NFT or not. I have a couple friends in there who have been just shilling me the Weirdos, and they're talking about this rat milk. So I've been entering giveaways and stuff, and here I am getting awarded it in the chat. So I'm very happy, but I have to ask, like, what does it do? Like, what do I get out of it?
Well, don't drink it all at once. That's the first piece of advice. It can be quite bitter straight from the cold taps of Rodentia Farm. So let it come to room temperature before you neck it. Okay, so that's the first tip. Now, what does it do? It's central to everything that we're doing in our community at the moment. So the principal benefit of it right now is that you can convert it into allow list spots, or the cream list. So the cream from the milk is the analogy there, from the cream list. So not cream with a K, unfortunately. Kerno Cream from our project team is with two Ks, and it's a C, a curly C, and you obtain cream list in lots of different ways, either by winning games in the community or doing extraordinarily weirdful things. Or the common method is by spending your rat milk in the farm shop. So we created this. I say we. I shouldn't be taking any of this credit. We've got a couple of absolute superstar software engineers and developers who have a pretty cool track record, actually. They are the engineers on Megapont on Stacks. If you're familiar with Stacks and Megapont, it's a super clinical, highly executed project over there as well. They produce this bot, this proprietary bot, which runs our raffles for accumulating rat milk, raffles for creamless spots, and all the commands that allow us to join a faction, which is the state or the weirdos, and join the resistance or the controlling state. It also lets you convert these rat milk milliliters into cream list or allow list spots. So keep on stacking that rat milk, because it's going to become useful when we head to the cloning event, and then you can join our pre-sale.
Awesome. What a freaking explanation that was. That was awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm hyped to get more rat milk now.
Yeah, Cheeto, I know you are doing this full time now, but I might have to hire you for a side gig of just like explaining things in a fancy way for me, you know? Like, I feel like I have these ideas, but I come on here and I'm just asking weird questions in spaces, and Poop's like, hey, Ross, here's a hoop. You want to jump through it? And I'm like, yes, Poop, let me jump through the loop. I'll do whatever. But man, to just have that eloquence and that weirdness all honed, like, you're a machine, man. That's awesome.
You're very kind. I mean, the key here is that everyone's having fun in the server. That's the thing that we keep coming back to, right? If it's entertaining, it's not going to feel like you've wasted your time. That's been our sort of central ethos the whole way through, because we've got 25,000 people in the server now, you know, with the vast majority of those are real people and not bots as well. We've got some good data insights on this stuff. So we're super confident that there's a number of people out there that far exceed the number of tokens we have available for sale. So I'm starting to think really seriously about that. People are going to miss out. If they miss out, what's going to happen? Are they going to leave the community, or are they going to, you know, wait patiently for their turn to jump in on secondary, or just hang around because it's been fun? Any of those points are good for us, because we hope that we're building things that are not just fly by night to acquire a token just to flip and wait for exit liquidity at some point when we build something in the future, right? It's just meant to be fun. And, you know, we're not reinventing anything in society by developing a cartoon NFT project, right? We know that we're at the light entertainment end of Web3, and it's potentially very life-changing, society-changing use cases. This is not going to be necessarily one of them, but we can play with the tech in a fun way. And we just keep on coming back to that point, really, because this is meant to be light entertainment, and we are absolutely committed to making sure that at least people, if they miss out, have had fun.
That's so awesome. I really do appreciate that. Genuinely, it's been really great having fun with you guys today and being weird and silly, and I appreciate you being so open to it. But I really do want to applaud that and just showcase, like, we see so many projects come and go that are just such apparent, like, clones of other projects, and they're not reinventing the wheel, but they're also not actually setting out to build a real community. So I really do like resonate and just vibe with you guys so hard in what you're trying to accomplish. So I really do wish you the best of luck with the launch on the clones. Very excited. I'm certainly going to be trying to get a couple weirdos myself. But yeah, it's been so awesome talking to you guys.
Oh, honestly, we're so grateful to take the stage with you. Thank you so much for having us. And yeah, come pay us a visit. You're a perfect weirdo. You're made for us.
Oh, I really appreciate that, man. Been waiting my whole life to hear that. I'm gonna turn it over to the audience one more time. Let anyone else who wants to come up ask some questions about the project, get a chance to talk to these guys here. Looks like we got Beef. I'm gonna invite him up here. Oh, Beef, you're already a speaker. Go for it. Let him ask, and then we'll get to wrapping up pretty soon.
Morning, everyone. How are we?
Hey, Beef. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. I just wanted to jump up and ask a couple of questions. I love the community you've built. I got wind of it from Concord originally, so I'm in that server, and I've kind of just tagged along for the ride so far. But it's been awesome in there. I want to make a statement first. I'm from the Weirdos, so from my perspective, we're going to overrun the state. Let that be known. We will revolt.
Bullshit.
But yeah, I know I don't normally take financial advice, but I took some skin advice when I was in the server, and I applied some rat milk to my face, and I've got some ear hair growing. I was just wondering, do we know how to combat that?
Yeah, I wonder if it's just cow's milk that does it. Like the old red wine, white wine trick with stains. If you if you cancel them out with cow's milk, I don't know if you've tried that, but maybe just pour a pint of cow's milk over your head, and it might just reverse the effects, because you'll be able to get your hands on several pints of cow, but rats by the volume are very, very hard to come by, as I'm sure you've now learned as you've spent some time in the Weirdoverse.
Yeah, it's actually I'll run with that remedy this afternoon. I'll give that a crack. But I wanted to get up here and get a little bit weird with everyone. So thanks very much for the project. I love it.
The other thing you can do is try rat cheese as well, because of course you can pull out all different byproducts from the milk. So just have a think about the mature cheese from the farm as well. That's a potential solution. But keep trying. Good luck with that, bud.
We might need to add waxing to our utility if this keeps happening, though.
From the health farm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if other NFTs have done that yet, but maybe we'll. That's right. We'll have some spa treatments. We'll do some waxing for some of our friends.
Done. I'll spend rat milk on that for sure.
Yeah, a few of our Genesis collection could use the full bikini wax. There's some pretty stubbly blokes out there, and They'd definitely be first in the queue. The Series 2 guys particularly, they are letting it all hang out.
Cheetle, if you want to be maximum weird here, we have two people who have yet to speak, JT Baby and Tori. You could have them do a contest of sorts for some milk token, and I'm sure Humble could probably oversee that. And you could have them do an impression or whatever. We have full weirdness here.
In.
Well, this is a good one, because we actually know Tori from our project, Hey Tori, and I know that Tori's not from England, so it would be great to hear everybody try their best English accent, because if you can get beyond the Dick Van Dyke stage of English accents, you're already probably got half a leg up on some of the audience here. So yeah, let's hear your best English accent, if you're willing to, of course, because I'm sure we can compensate you for your embarrassment with prizes.
I just don't know how I would do that. I fucking suck at this. I'm just so bad, and I truly think this is somewhat Australian.
You sound like you're from London.
I just don't know, mate. I seriously don't. But I would love a milk token if you were so kind.
That last bit was brilliant. I don't know where that was from, but it was somewhere.
It was not the American accent, I'll tell you that.
And JT in Discord, yeah.
JT Bear.
JT Bear in Discord. All right, I'll find you.
Yeah, let's go. Thank you. I do have a
the
question.
showering commence.
I do have a question if you don't mind.
Please, yeah.
So apologies if I missed it earlier, but how is the drop working?
Cool, good question. So we have a pre-sale called the Cream List, which is going to be coming up relatively soon. We've not confirmed a date, but what we've said is that when we confirm the token price, we will be 10 days out from the pre-sale mint. So we'll be effectively rolling that announcement into one relatively soon. So if you go to our Twitter account, it says early April. That doesn't leave as many days left. There's not a lot of runway left to get that in early April. So you can assume that we're coming to you relatively soon with all that information. But how the drop works, we've already, just to recap, because I'm not sure if anyone's arrived late, the project already has 412 Genesis 1-of-1 hand-drawn tokens out there in the Weirdoverse on OpenSea, spread across 3 series, and those guys will all receive a free generative mint, which we're calling the cloning event. They are our OGs, if you like, and we believe that the Weirdoverse will be very centered around their characters as we start to explore that in the long term. Now, as we go forwards, we've got this larger collection that's generative, 9,272 tokens. No one's asked us why it's that number on this Spaces today. 9272 is a weird number. So in math, if you Google this, 9272 is a weird number. There is a mathematical definition of a weird number, but I might slip into a coma if I fully explain all the maths behind it. So let's not go there. But it's a weird number. And we will be predominantly selling that through our cream list spots, so the pre-sale. Now, of course, just like most projects with whitelists, allow lists, or whatever they want to call them, there's going to be people that lapse and don't use that right to purchase in the pre-sale. So we are anticipating there being a smaller public sale as well, and we've got some fairly innovative plans for how we're going to drop that as well, which we're keeping close to our chest at this point, because we feel like we're able to, hopefully, if all goes well, brag about the execution of that when we look back on it with our well, I was going to say our feet up, but actually we're probably going to start the work the day after. So yeah, it's all go, but we're super excited. But it's all about obtaining the cream list spots for now in the main, so that you can get yourself into pre-sale in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. I'm not going to put the exact date on it right now, but we're getting very close to that point in time.
So Cheadle and Humble, by that extension, is there still time? Because I think maybe people who are listening to this. Okay, so if you just for the first time are joining your Discord, you could still get on the milk list at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I felt really strongly about that, particularly when I spoke to CryptoJack on joining the project. So one of my frustrations as a collector has been having a real resonance with a project that I really want to buy, and just arriving later than other people and having no chance of minting it and being locked out because I wasn't early. Early but not early enough is one of the most frustrating feelings I have experienced as a collector in Web3. I get it. I mean, you've got to draw the line somewhere. There's an abundance of people who want to mint tokens and only 10,000 pieces in each collection, right? So somehow you've got to devise a system for filling your order book, basically, and project teams are going to want to feel security in that and get that done as early as possible. And often the volume approach early on is comforting to a project team, but we've decided to be a little bit bolder with it and think, well, that as an experience from a collector's perspective is often shit. It feels if it sucks to get to a project you think you really want to be involved in and find yourself on the outside looking in. So we're going to be holding back some cream list spots right the way through to pre-sale. Now it's going to get harder for sure it's going to get harder to just jump in and instantly earn. But we were keen to have two things happen. One, a relatively low threshold for achieving the first cream list spot. So if you want to mint 2 or 3 tokens, you need 2 or 3 cream list spots. Okay, so 1 cream list equals 1 right to mint 1 token. We wanted to give people a fair and decent chance of being on the cream list once, and you would only have to take part and enjoy your time with us for a reasonable amount of time before that became an inevitable byproduct of your experience. And then for people arriving later and later, yeah, it's going to be harder to acquire the sums of rat milk, but then the short circuit answer to that is come and play the games. You know, we're still going to be running the whole full community schedule all the way through to mint and beyond. And we're going to hold back a bunch of instant wins for poker tournaments, for Pictionary games, for quizzes, for cooking contests. In fact, we had a weird cooking contest last week, which produced some just vile combinations, which were a joy to judge on. We've got art contests. We've got potentially singing contests. Weird karaoke is going to be a late night drama. I think I'm not quite sure how that's going to go or what people are going to do for it, but I'm here for it. So we're trying to just lean into any different sense of light entertainment that we can do at scale, because one of our big challenges we've got now is people throw ideas at us all the time, like, hey, you should play Smash Carts, everyone's playing Smash Carts in Web3. It's like, great, but we're a community of 8,000 people online at once and 25 in the Discord. We need to be able to scale. We need to do stuff at the 6, 7, 8, 900 level now, where people are itching at the chance. So it's great to play Rumble Royale, right? But there's only one winner of Rumble Royale, so it's quite hard to devise systems that give a reasonable percentage chance of winning, but keep everyone involved and included. So we're continually coming up with different ways of making it on the cream list and holding that back as long as much as we can, so that you can come in here in the final week and have a chance. That's really important to me.
Oh, that's so awesome. I mean, yeah, I resonate with everything you just said, man. Again, like, I really respect the way you're looking at that. I do feel that you need stuff that everyone wants to be able to participate in terms of games that scale. And it's hilarious you say that, because I've spent so much time just sitting and watching Rumble games, and it's like, okay, like, realistically, I'm never going to win this with 200 different spots. So I like that, you're making it so that not everyone's going to get it. Obviously, not just like botters and people who want 100 of them for purely monetary gain, but incentivizing people who just want to be there. So that's really cool.
We also just award spot prizes for it as well, for activities that go above and beyond. Someone posted a video of a recruitment campaign for the state authority earlier today, and they were using that as a recruitment tool for bringing people over to their faction, which just shows a level of creativity which you can't ignore. And so I don't want to ignore it. If we've got hundreds of people that are feeling that way about joining an NFT project, I don't want to be standing in the way of that. I want to reward it, and I want the mods to feel empowered to see that and go, hey, that's what we're all about. And it's a difficult tightrope between performative actions just to obtain cream list and genuinely vibing with the thing that we're trying to establish. And you never get it quite right, but the less jumping through hoops that we're asking you to do, the better I think we'll feel about the kind of community legacy that we're leaving by running it in a lighthearted way. I don't want to name project examples, but where you've got to buy a previous collection or a piece of merch and then draw a picture before we'll even consider you for whitelist is prohibitively difficult. People have real life jobs, full-time careers. They can't spend all day sitting on a Discord grinding XP, but they like the art and they like the vibe, and they should be able to drop in for 10 minutes every other day and still have a chance. And that's really important to us. It's like, how do we get that person as an advocate for the project, because it's for them every bit as much as the person that can sit online for 16 hours a day. It's not healthy to sit online for 16 hours a day. You know, we're doing it because there's a shit ton of stuff to do in a hyper growth business of running an NFT project, but it's not good for you. and we don't want to create that sense of FOMO. It's unhealthy. So go and live your life and come drop in for 10 minutes a day, and we'll find a way to give you the opportunities that are fair. And, you know, this won't be 100% guarantee, but at least I want everyone to go away feeling like they had a chance.
Wow. Just when you think you've seen it all, Cheadle's going soft. You hear that, guys? He's not going to make you draw a picture. That's what I would do if I had an NFT project. I'd say, listen, you give me
we're running an
3
art
pieces
contest
of...
as well. We'll do an art contest too, but...
You give me 3 pieces of fan art, and if they are not done by the same artist of Azuki himself, if you're not in here with 30 GMs a day to every member, you're not going to be a part of my projects. But the Weirdos will take you. If you're engaged, the Weirdos will take you. They'll have you.
We're just conscious of the worlds we've come from. You know, my previous job was full on. It was full metal. You were working these 16 hours, but in a different world, and so I couldn't check in on project discords in the way that I do now. So how do I get the old me into projects? Because I love this. I was in, well, in fact, this is a bad example because I was in this community because it really did speak to me. But if I want to find something new, I don't want to have to commit half my life when I've got kids, I've got, you know, partner, I've got friends, I've got interests. You know, you can't just sit online and this has to be something that fits in and complements your life rather than becomes this sort of all absorbing thing, which we're seeing far too much of, in my opinion, in Web3, partly because there's so much money to be made, and we can't escape the fact that we're in a highly speculative asset class here, and that's just the nature of the beast, right? There's going to be people who just want to buy just to make money, and you know, we're not here to tell them not to, of course, but we are trying to pitch this at a group of people who just want to own this alongside the other things they do in their life as well. We're not asking for a pound of flesh.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome, honestly, and I really, again, man, I just resonate with so much of what you're saying. Like, it can be all encompassing sometimes. I know, especially when we had stealth launches a couple of months ago, like I would get like 3 hours of sleep, man. Like, it was just nonstop, so much money to be made around every corner. And especially knowing that not every project is successful immediately after launch, and just seeing like the extent that people go through. I mean, Embers today, not to bring up a random project, but you know, that was a hugely hyped project with over 100,000 followers, and people worked so hard to get this lit list of theirs, and it turns out to just be a rug, like complete waste of time for those people's lives, and it really can just be a lot of strain. So I always applaud people who are just trying to make Web3 a better place, and it seems like you guys have the right vibe for that, and it's fun to see it in a new adult and different way. So it's very cool, again, to just be chatting about this.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll wrap it up with free-for-all mode. Every speaker can unmute themselves. Don't worry about background noise. We'll just wrap it up, everyone. I want to thank everyone again for being here. You can say some parting remarks. I'll actually give it up to Cheadle, and then if you want to ask or just give any last plugs for the project or anything, I want to make sure you guys have a chance to do that, but we're definitely trying to wrap it up here.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of time before early April, but you know, we're coming up fairly close to the big announcements, and the big story this week is we're dropping sneak peeks into the world. So Crypto Jack and I have been cycling through the collection, the generative cloning event that is. Super exciting, and can't wait to show people how similar to the one-of-one hand-drawn collections they are. In fact, in some cases they're more intricate, more interesting, and more varied. So I can't wait to start sneaking that stuff into the community. We're going to do it in our Discord to start with, but we've got plans for Twitter and the outside world as well to start reeling them in with the content. So that's my focus this week. It's how we get that out into the world, and yeah, super exciting times.
Oh, that is so exciting. Jack, any final remarks from you?
Yeah, I think we said we were going to pick 2 people from the spaces and give away a couple of cream lists. So if you guys want to pick a couple, don't pick Austin. He's got more rat milk and more cream lists than he can possibly do anything with. But if you want to pick two other people from the I feel really bad now. Sorry, Austin. If you want to pick 2 other people from the audience, then and if they can message you guys or the Weirdos account, then we'll set them up, give them some cream lists, and yeah, we're really excited. We're really grateful for you for hosting us. We're glad you can see that we're trying to do something different. That's definitely kind of part of our core vision, and appreciate everybody's time. We know it's nearly an hour and a half. Some of you, so thank you so much.
Oh, wow. I had no idea, Jack. Well, if we have the ability to give away 2 creamless spots, I'll definitely make it entertaining for everybody real quick if we can.
Hello, Governor.
Go ahead.
Hello, Governor.
Oh, Aslo here. If anyone is willing to hop up on stage and do a little weirdo karaoke, just sing something weird. That's all I ask. Get up on stage, react right now. I'll get you up here, you'll sing. We'll give you a creamless spot. Okay? So this is right now people reacting, please, for this creamless spot. Show me the peace react so I know that that's what you're trying to get up on this spaces for. If you're trying to sing.
And do we pick the song, Ross, or are they picking the song?
Oh, Cheeto, you can tell them to sing about whatever you want. I'm just going to bring them up here.
Well, I think it should be a weird song at least. It shouldn't be a mainstream. Well, no, hang on. What about Bohemian Rhapsody? I mean, that's weird and mainstream. So you've got the best of both worlds. If anyone can do parts of Bohemian Rhapsody, that would be fire.
All right, it looks like we got XX, first person to throw me the peace sign here. I invited him up. XX, if you are out there, I invited you to speak. Hop on up here for your chance to serenade me and Cheetle. Let's see. XX, please. All right, well, Steve's already up here, and he's been throwing this peace sign. So, Steve, hit us with it. Some weird Bohemian Rhapsody.
It's the real one. Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up in the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, don't need no sympathy. Easy go, little high, little low. The windows doesn't really matter to me tonight.
Amazing.
Kind of a
wow. 10 out of 10, dude. That was so well deserved, Steve.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, you'd never tell. That was vintage form. Yeah, you were at your best.
Yeah, I haven't sung really in a little bit, so I appreciate that. Had to stand up,
how could we not
get
give
the
a
pipes
cream
a
list
little
for
loose.
that?
That's incredible. All right, Steve, thank you so much for that. Steve, do me a favor, shoot me a DM on Twitter here with your Discord and your wallet address, and I will make sure to get it to the Weirdos team after this. And I want to get one more person up here. I'll have Beef because he was up here earlier and was chatting, and he was throwing a ton of peace signs. So I'll give Beef a chance to sing here for this other slot. But if it's not weird, Beef, it's not guaranteed just because you were up here before. We're gonna need some weird singing, sir.
I stopped at about 1 minute if you want to take off where I left.
Give Beef a chance, that's what I say.
All right. Tough act to follow, but I'm going to pick it up. Mama just killed a man. Put a gun against his head and pulled my trigger. Ooh, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun. But now I've gone and thrown it all away for the stupid state. Mama, ooh, didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, ooh, carry on. Carry on, is nothing really matters apart from rat milk.
Incredible. Wow. Another perfect serenade. This is amazing. Beef, same to you, man. Please shoot me a DM with your Discord name and your wallet address.
I can't believe Beef knew all the words to Bohemian Rhapsody as well. He just crushed it, didn't he?
I usually
He really did.
New words in there.
I took my own kind of creative flair to it, but yeah, God, it puts me to sleep, that song. I love it.
You did you, Beef, and that's the key here.
Awesome. I think this was the perfect way to end it. You guys should we'll have a recording of the spaces. I would get those 2 renditions and just have it like play on the minting page, you know? I think that would be really on brand. But all right, once again, thank you to the Weirdos team. Thank you, Cheadle. Thank you, Jack. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you to the audience. MVHQ, best alpha community out there. Check out our Discord. Check out the Weirdos. They got their clone launch coming up in 10 or so days, maybe a little bit more, sometime in April. And yeah, we're looking forward to it, guys. Best of luck on everything. Love chatting with you tonight, and we'll catch you around.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for having us. It's been awesome.
Night, everybody.